Brock Purdy did not practice Wednesday due to shoulder and toe injury. 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan discussed whether Purdy will play in Week 2.
Any further sense about whether Brock will be able to play on Sunday?
I think it's a long shot.
That Purdy's injury could be a multi-week thing.
That's possible.
And that's the toe more so than the shoulder.
Yes.
Did someone step on his foot in the pocket? Do you know how the toe injury happened?
Yeah, I think it happened scrambling. I think when Love tackled him by the sideline. I believe it happened.
Were you aware he was playing through that in the game, or is it just something you found out later?
And I was aware. Yeah.
It's time for Luke Who's Talking, the season premiere with our guy Luke Willson, Canada's favorite tight end, from his beautiful home studio. We're going to talk about the home studio later. I want to talk about the 49ers. Luke, this is a team that you're pretty high on. I know you don't want to be high on them. They're your arch rivals, but you're reluctantly admitting that they are a terrific team. Well, here's the deal. We just heard about Brock Purdy and his issues. Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, Juwan Jennings. Neither of those three guys practiced Wednesday at all. How worried are you about this Niners team, a team that is about to have Mac Jones under center?
Yeah, it is concerning, Jay. And the reason being is, like you said, I am high on this Niners team, but that's because of their veterans. And I find this team to be very, very thin once a few of those veterans get dinged up. And you even look at last week, like CMC was unbelievable for them. And I think he's on a bit of a load management situation right now. But if you take him out of the equation, it's going to be tough sledding. Now, we talk about Brock Purdy. It's a big loss. I mean, you just went out and paid this guy $50+ million. He's been in the system for a long time. He seems to find ways to win. The guys trust him. Mac Jones has to shoulder a lot of this. Again, I like the Niners because of their star players, but they've kind of entered that realm where they have star players and then a bunch of kind of younger, inexpensive players. And that generally happens with great teams. So it's one of those things now when those star guys go down, this is not the Niners team of 4 or 5 years ago where you can plug in the next great guy. They don't have that. So I am very concerned with the names you just said. And again, I think it's a big loss not having Purdy.
All right, let me cheer you up, buddy, because I got the best news ever. Mike Florio, among other football reporters, are saying that if Mac Jones does falter as starting QB of the Niners, John Lynch, our boy, GM of the Niners, might be interested in acquiring Kirk Cousins. How do you like that idea? The gunslinger of the Bay.
I honestly think it's a match made in heaven.
Yes.
And again, obviously you want Purdy there, but, you know, Kyle Shanahan and Kirk Cousins obviously have ties. It's the perfect quarterback for Shanahan's system. Shanahan wants a guy that's going to hand the ball off to establish the run and make calculated decisions. You know, it's all about scheme, scheme, scheme. And if there's a guy who can go in and scheme things up and execute a scheme, it's Kirk Cousins. So that would be kind of a fun transition to see Kirk back in the fold.
I mean, you don't want to wish bad things for Mac Jones, but just the idea of it is so exciting to me. I would love it personally. Hey, this is another weird one, though. Head coach Mike McDaniel of the Dolphins, Luke, he had this to say about his quarterback Tua Tagovailoa on Wednesday. Take a listen to this.
I saw, quarterback play that was less than to be desired, which Tua absolutely knows. But that was, he's the captain of the franchise quarterback. And everybody kind of fell victim to something similar.
So the Colts beat the Dolphins last week, and after that game, Luke, Colts cornerback Xavier Howard said once they took away Tua's first read, he started to panic. Do you see a bounce back for Tua this week against the Patriots?
I definitely see a bounce back, Jay, because it can't get much worse. But that being said, though, that is very, very concerning when a cornerback says something like that, when your head coach comes out and says, hey, we didn't have very stellar play. But what confuses me about this whole thing is that it's not like we didn't know what was upcoming here. Like the idea that we wouldn't be grinding with Tua all offseason, the idea that camp, we're not prepping this guy to come in here and at least have a better performance than what he did, that's where I get concerned. You don't just go into a game on Sunday and magically forget how to play football. That's not really a thing. So if this narrative is correct, I think there's some big problems here. And the last thing I'll say about this, Jay, is obviously Coach McDaniel's on the hot seat a little bit. You know, there's been a lot of talk about him and the culture and how soft or not soft this team is. I don't really love, you know, I like when coaches call people out, but when you're the guy who's getting all the criticism as a coach and then all of a sudden you kind of point the arrow somewhere else, that didn't sit great with me either as an ex-player. So I think there's a little bit of trouble in paradise, let's say, that down there in Miami.
Man, it was going so well for them when he showed up. Now it's gone sour really quick in Miami. Speaking of going sour really quick, let's talk about the career of your old buddy, Russell Wilson. I mean, it didn't go great in Pittsburgh last year. That week 1 loss to Washington was rough. Now, Brian Daboll and the Giants are going to stick with Russell for week 2. But from what you saw, Luke, do you feel Russell has much left?
I personally don't, not at this time. I mean, is he going to be able to throw a couple go balls, you know, have those kind of sparks where it looks a bit magical? Yes, but if you're looking for a quarterback, Jay, that's going to sustain drives and come out and consistently perform, he's simply not it right now. You know, you go all the way back to Denver. That offense was hard to watch. Pittsburgh last year, again, there are some go balls, a couple flashes, but the body of work was very, very subpar. And then you come out week 1, and it just looked like an absolute fire sale. I mean, and you got Malik Neighbors on the sideline, mad at your head coach. Everybody's frustrated. And I think what is a bit shocking is when you buzz the film, it's a lot of simple things. You know, they're not asking him to go out there and be Josh Allen. They're not asking him to go out there and be Lamar. It's just like execute simple stuff, and we're missing it, and we got bad eyes, and we're looking around. I think there's a lot of concern right now in New York, and it wouldn't surprise me if Jameis Winston is the next option, or they go straight to the rookie if Russ doesn't pick it up very soon.
Yeah, the Jackson Dart era might begin. We'll be going for a dart before we know it. Luke, let's touch on your Seahawks to wrap this up. They better make those T-shirts, buddy. They better make those T-shirts. So, listen, they lose to the Niners in week 1, your Seahawks. But, I mean, they were right in it till the end. In fact, it was just a bad fumble that cost Sam Darnold the chance to come back and win this thing in his first game as a starter for Seattle. How are you feeling about your Seahawks after week 1?
A little uneasy. You know, I'm obviously not clicking the panic button. I think defensively, they did some great things. Now, they got a little bit of help with Kittle getting injured, but defensively, holding the Niners team to 17 points, a couple turnovers they forced. I thought the defense was pretty stout. I think Coach Mike McDonald's going to be very, very happy about that in the long run. Offensively is where I get a bit concerned. You know, they got a new offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, which everybody believes in. But what scared me a bit here is this offensive line, which is new and improved, and everybody says that, I believe that, but we averaged, I believe, 3.2 rush yards. So we really struggled to establish the run, which is what Kubiak wants to do. He comes from that Shanahan tree. You know, his father, Gary, obviously has a lot of connections there. And then passing the football, Sam Darnold had 150, which is not great, and 124 of those were to the same guy. So it's like, we really had one receiver in JSN go off. Nobody else was involved whatsoever. And then when we get down there, still a chance to win the game, we have a turnover. So I was a bit uneasy with their offensive performance. I do believe they have weapons, Jay. So that's what kind of concerned me. It's like you got a much better offensive line. You got 2 running backs that are really, really premier guys. And you've got JSN and Cooper Kupp. This offense should be rolling and scoring points, and they didn't run the ball well. They didn't throw the ball well. So that, to me, again, makes me feel a little uneasy, but we'll see if they can rebound this week.
Okay, we will see if they can rebound, and we will see you after the Thursday Nighter on this show when we break down Packers and Washington. Both these teams won their week 1 matchups and looked very impressive doing it. This is going to be a terrific game. Jordan Love, Jaden Daniels, 8:15 Eastern. And as I said, Luke and myself will follow the game and break it all down for you.